Are young footballers seen as money investments? Let me show you this. On July 2024, we saw Kylian Mbappe get unveiled by Real Madrid, but 2 days before that, Madrid had unveiled ENDRICK, a player that plays the same position as Kylian. And you know what they say, right? You don't sign a player for 150 million just to sit them on the bench. And unfortunately for ENDRICK, when he saw what Madrid had planned for him, he was already signed to them. And now recently he made headlines when he said football isn't a nice place, and that's because number one, Real Madrid had no clear path for his development into the first team, and number two, the move was all about doing business. And all those stories about him following in the footsteps of R9, the difference is R9 joined Madrid when he was at age 26, and currently with many footballers running down contracts, big clubs have seen a decrease from earning transfer fee money, and that has made clubs to actually buy young players with the intention of selling them for a high return. Although it's happening now more frequently, big clubs have always done business this way. Like when a 15-year-old Martin Odegaard blew up as a viral sensation, he ended up signing a 6-year contract with Madrid, but he actually spent a majority of the time on loan, playing for 4 different teams. In most cases, people would think a club is actually prioritizing a player's game time when they send the player out on loan, but the reality is when a club sends a player on loan, there could be a chance that they want to sell him, and they are only just marketing the player so that he can get some sort of exposure. In fact, no club would actually send a player on loan if they plan on keeping the player. Leonard Carl from Bayern Munich, Max Daumann from Arsenal, Rion Gumoha from Liverpool are some of the best young players in the world, but I bet their teams would never consider sending them out on loan. And in Odegaard's case, it was clear from the start that he was never going to play for Madrid, with prime Cristiano Ronaldo, Gareth Bale and Karim Benzema. So at a very young age of 22, he was sold to Arsenal for 40 million, with Madrid making a 36 million profit. That's after signing him for 4 million. Mind you, Odegaard was only 22, which is still considered a young age to give up on a player you thought of as a future superstar, not unless you had other plans when you were signing the player. And in my opinion, we're only going to see more young players getting signed by big clubs just so they can be sold for profit, with the rising trend of players moving to a new club as a free agent so that they can get a signing bonus that can only bring some chain reaction to football. Whether it's Trent leaving Liverpool and getting a 20 million signing bonus from Real Madrid, Kevin De Bruyne got a 10 million signing bonus with Napoli, or how about Kylian Mbappe when he got his 150 bonus when he signed for Real Madrid? That amount would have been the 3rd highest transfer fee record, which is above the money Liverpool paid for Alexander Isak. And each year that passes, we see clubs losing profits because players are cutting out the middleman. But to balance things out, clubs have figured out an idea on how to still make transfer fee money, and that is by recruiting young academy players for close to nothing and selling them for a fortune. And one of the most bizarre cases is that of Harvey, a player that went from winning the Under-21 European Player of the Year tournament with England to being frozen from playing football. And this happened because Liverpool spent a combined 240 million on Alexander Isak and Florian Wirtz. And when you spend so much money on new players, you need to sell a couple of players just so you can manage your losses. And at the beginning of the season, Liverpool sent Harvey to Aston Ville on a loan with an option to buy, and the option to buy would be triggered automatically if Aston Villa played Harvey Elliot in 10 league games. But since Aston Villa has changed their mind on signing the player, they have shut down Elliot's season at 9 league appearances, and now you've got 2 teams in the middle of a negotiation and a young player who can't do what he loves to do, all because of business. In this video, I discuss how young players are coming up in the most aggressive time in the business of football, and stick around as I'm going to explain how clubs use academy players as a quick money flip to balance the books, and why PSG activated the 6 million release clause for Fernandez just so they can sell him later on if they happen to need some quick money. Also, could Chelsea end up losing academy graduates Reece James and Levi Colwill if they don't qualify for the Champions League? Did you know that a team that wins the Premier League gets close to 60 million in prize money, and a team that wins the Champions League stands a chance to get 100 million in prize money? Meanwhile, Chelsea have spent a total close to 1.5 billion on buying new players since the year 2022.
Having no idea what made a good football player. You know, Mark Cucurella, if Man City wants him, I want him.
Yeah,
It
right.
was really simple that
That's
way.
pretty simple, yeah.
This is Chelsea owner Todd Bowley when he explained his strategy on how he bought players. A year after he took over as Chelsea's new ownership, the club were in headlines for a possible points deduction from PSR, better known as profits and sustainability, which is set up to hold teams accountable when they overspend, and the punishment in most cases is a points deduction. But the club owner found a loophole by selling 2 hotels to one of his own companies, but that was a temporary solution to a long-term problem, because every time the club does not qualify for the Champions League, there's a risk of selling academy products like Reece James or Levi Colwill, which I'll explain shortly. You see, ever since Chelsea had new owners, the club has been involved in bidding wars in a very short amount of time, like the time they went into a bidding war with Liverpool for Moses Caicedo, which Chelsea won and ended up paying 100 million, and then they went into another war for Romeo Lavia for 60 million, and then with Arsenal for Mudryk, who cost them 90 million. There's a saying that just because you can manage to buy something, that does not mean you can actually afford buying it. And that season Chelsea finished 12th, and because of that the club ended up selling Conor Gallagher and Mason Mount, and this time it could be Levi Colwill or Reece James that are shown the door. And that's because selling academy players means the club gets to make pure profit. And even though on the 26th of April Enzo Fernandez was flirting with the move to Real Madrid by commenting about how much he likes the city of Madrid, and even being caught on camera at Madrid Open sitting next to Jude Bellingham, him being sold to Real Madrid is almost impossible, and that is even if Madrid makes a 100 million bid. That would only leave Chelsea with a 10 million profit, and let me explain how. Enzo's deal from Benfica to Chelsea was 2 seasons ago. Benfica fully received the money and spent 96 million on beefing up their new squad with new players, but when it comes to accounting, big clubs like Chelsea use a loophole called amortization to spread out the transfer fee onto the player's contract. The best comparison is a house mortgage, where you pay monthly payments over a period of time to the bank because the bank gave you a huge lump sum loan to pay the owner of the house to pass the ownership to yourself. In football, something similar also happens. Step 1, Benfica receives the full 120 million of the transfer fee, and they tell Enzo he's a Chelsea player and that he should go to London to sign his new contract. Step 2, when Chelsea does its accounting, they spread out the 120 million to the player's full length of the contract. In Enzo's case, 120 million divided by 8 means Chelsea can structure the deal as paying 15 million each season instead of 120 million on one transfer window. This process then allows Chelsea to still make other signings of Moses Caicedo for 100 million, Romeo Lavia for 58 million, and Mudryk for 90 million, and all these players were signed in the space of 6 months. But there's a catch, since all these big money signings are going to be paid for in the future. For an example, let's estimate that all 4 of these players Chelsea has to pay 15 million each, so that means the team must make a payment of 60 million each season, and on top of that they must pay the players' wages. All those numbers raise the importance of playing the competition that pays the most, which is the Champions League, and if the team does not qualify, then there will be trouble with the PSR, like it happened when they finished 12th. And the best solution to get out of trouble is selling an academy player. Why an academy player? That is because an academy player has no transfer fee money that is spread out into their contract. Because if Chelsea would consider selling Enzo Fernandez for 100 million after he has spent 2 seasons at Chelsea, this would only result to a 10 million profit. Hence, on paper, Chelsea still owes 90 million on the books. After all, Enzo has spent 2 seasons playing for Chelsea. When multiplied by 15 million, it only equals to 30 million, and there is a remainder of 6 more years on his contract, meaning the club still needs to pay another 90 million. So a 100 million sale for Enzo only equals a 10 million profit. And this is why the more time passes, the more clubs are becoming ruthless in the business of academy players. And recently Chelsea has been banned from signing players for their academy, and because of illegal dealings and bribing agents. Or how about when Riongo Moha switched from Chelsea to Liverpool, and Liverpool coaches were banned from watching Chelsea's academy games? And judging by how the kid is turning out, it makes sense why the London club would be pissed off, because it could be possible that Liverpool stole away a 100 million valued player in the next couple of seasons. But one of the most recent crazy stories is when PSG convinced Fernandez to join them by activating his own release clause of 6 million from his Barcelona contract. And if you're wondering how PSG knew about the teenager's release clause, well, the player has the same agent as PSG manager Luis Enrique, which just shows you even agents are not to be trusted. And when you think about it, it makes sense why big players like Kevin De Bruyne are firing their football agents. But I still say if Joe Fernandez had some common sense, he would have known that it would be harder to break into the midfield of PSG than it would be to break into the midfield of Barcelona. Because in my opinion, I think the plan is just for in case PSG is needing some extra money to fund a transfer pursuit, they could just sell the teenager. The same way Real Madrid sent ENDRICK on loan to play for Lyon. The young Brazilian was never going to play at Madrid ahead of Kylian, but instead Real Madrid just needed the player to be on their books, send him to Lyon for a couple of seasons, probably sell him for a profit in a later stage. And it's all about business and selling potential for a profit. The same thing that is happening with Nico Paz. Madrid is bringing back the player not because they think they will play him ahead of Jude Bellingham or Arda Güler. They just want to bring him back on a longer contract, send him out on loan again for 2 more years and sell him for a bigger fee than the 9 million that they are rumored to be willing to pay Como. So the question is, are young players being seen as profit? Could we see young players actually being signed by clubs with the plan of turning them into superstars instead of just seeing money profits? Till next time, peace.